Is narrowing your niche keeping you boring and broke? Hi there, I am the goddess known as Jackie Gates from the Home and Small Business Network, and I want to tell you something interesting I found about this niching thing. You know how they always say, if you want to get rich, you've got to find a niche. They're talking about narrowing down and narrowing down. I found it so hard in the beginning. I knew what I was passionate about, but getting that 30-second commercial, where I could try and contain everything I do and everything I talk about and everything I'm passionate about into 30 seconds, that was hard. And I actually wrote a blog post about it. I got it fairly good, but I just found it more and more confining. And what was worse, I was still broke. I was still not making nearly enough money. Well, not for this goddess anyway. What I was finding is that niche was only one facet of me. I was becoming one-dimensional and, I hate to say it, somewhat boring. I found that when I wanted to talk about business, I was always drawing in things that I've learned about mindset. I was also talking about the way you run your home has a direct bearing on how much time and spare money you have to put into your home business. These things are all so closely related that to me, having this little lens of talking only about business was terribly confining. I started getting so one-dimensional and really quite boring. And the worst thing, I started to sound like everybody else. Without tooting my horn, I'm so much bigger than that, and so are you. We all have stories and passions that make us different, that make us relate to other people. When you share who you are and your other passions, you draw in people who might not be interested initially in what you were originally talking about. For example, I know that sounds rather vague, but here's an example. The hip-hop mogul Russell Simmons, he's just released a new book. It's called Super Rich, fabulous read. I am not into hip-hop or rap. I'm an opera singer. I do musical theater. Hip-hop and rap are a completely alien music form for me. So I really never paid any attention to him. I actually didn't know who he was until he brought out his first book. And he talked about his yoga practice, his mindfulness, his belief in abundance. And he was talking with Deepak Chopra. That just absolutely amazed me. And so I got so much more interested in how he runs his hip-hop rap music business than I would have been otherwise had he not become more in alignment with me through his yoga practice. If he hadn't shared that side of him, I might never have paid any attention to him. Do you get that? By sharing all sides of you, you draw in people who may not be drawn into just your business side. And then finally one day, they'll hear the things that you talk about as far as business goes. When they're ready to change, when they're ready to start something, or if they want some specific business advice, you're the one they'll talk to because you're real and interesting. You are a multifaceted being. You have so many interests. And it's those interests that make you interesting. And it's when you're interesting and when you are different, which you are anyway, but we don't see it if you're going to niche yourself into one little tiny compartment. That is the problem with niching, I think. Now, I'm sure this is going to be very controversial because a lot of people only talk about one thing. And if that works for you, then that's fabulous. It hasn't worked for me. And if it's not working for you, perhaps you'd like to look at things a little different. One small caveat here. It is not a good idea to go and become like a Jill of all trades. You don't want to dispense with niching. You're still going to be within a certain area of business. But at the same time, let people see other sides. Whatever your business is, there's a reason that you chose it. And that reason has to do with everything that you are. So share it. That's just my thought. I would would be thrilled and delighted if you would enter into this conversation and tell me what you think. Because so many times we hear the voice that's the loudest. And for me, the niching voice has been the loudest. I'm choosing to zig while other people zag. I'd be intrigued to see if you're willing to try the same thing. Have a fabulous day, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.